There's been another Aboriginal death in custody in New South Wales. The man's family is demanding answers after he was found unresponsive in his Sydney prison cell last week.
You see it happen over the news, you know, with other families, and you think like, nah, it's not going to happen to us or anything like that. But then when it does, like, you don't know how to handle it. Like, you can't explain something like this.
Before dawn last Thursday, 43-year-old Frank Coleman was pronounced dead inside these walls. His family say they found out from a friend, disputing police claims that they notified the next of kin.
That's a human right to be able to know when your loved one has passed, but not to even hear that and to hear it through word of mouth, or that's just completely unacceptable.
It's the second time the family have been struck by tragedy. In 2016, their son and brother Ricardo was shot dead at age 20. His killer was later found guilty of manslaughter.
It's actually nightmarish that we have to go through it yet again. So this is two Aboriginal men in our lives that we've now lost, that could have been avoided.
The family is left with precious mementos, artworks gifted by other prisoners.
There was one main artist and a lot of the brothers all contributed.
But they have no answers about what caused Frank's death. And as police and corrective services begin their investigations ahead of a coronial inquest, they may have to wait years to find out.
It's not nice just to picture how someone's died, and well, you don't know how they've died as well, so the cause of death, so you just only hope that they passed away in their sleep.
Since March, at least 9 First Nations men and women have died in police or prison custody, but only a handful have been publicly named. 6 of these deaths happened in New South Wales, with 2 at Sydney's Long Bay Correctional Complex, including Frank Coleman.
And this is the aftermath of the Black Lives Matter movement here in this place. This is how bad it is, that it has done nothing here. Yet the world over, we've seen change, we've seen, just such amazing transformations. Yet here, it's business as usual.
Paul Silver understands the family's grief all too well. His uncle, David Dungay Jr., died in Long Bay Correctional Complex in 2015.
He was secured in his cell, eating a packet of biscuits when corrective officers stormed his cell. Despite his begs that he could not breathe, they then moved him to a secondary cell where nurses then sedated him, and shortly later he took his last breath.
For the past 6 years, Paul has been demanding accountability.
To hear another death in the same correctional facility or any correctional facility across Australia, it's very upsetting. They might be seen as criminals and, bad people, but they haven't received the death sentence, but human beings are coming out in body bags to their family members, and it's unacceptable.
Paul and his family have filed a complaint with the United Nations Human Rights Committee, arguing Australian authorities failed to protect David's right to life.
We've exhausted all avenues, so we've decided to take our case to the UN. I don't want my children growing up in a broken system where they will be constantly targeted just because the colour of their skin and because they're Aboriginal.
Australia has so far not had sufficient scrutiny at the international level about what is happening here in Australia. The rate of deaths in custody in this country is absolutely unacceptable. The rate of incarceration of Indigenous people is absolutely unacceptable. And it's time that the Australian government starts looking at this through a human rights perspective and takes the action that is required to improve this situation.
Meanwhile, families across the country continue to call for change.
What is really beautiful in all of this tragedy is the power and strength of blackfellas to refuse to be silent about the things that are most violent to us. It is blackfellas that will march on the streets in the midst of a pandemic because we know that we deserve better than what we've got. And I think in all of these stories of tragedy, we must never lose sight of the power of blackfellas and the things that we can do in spite of the stuff that we have to put up with.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.